Welcome to the Intentional Queen Podcast Journey to Restoration with Jineen. Hey, boo, hey. I'm your host. I'm Jineen R. Huff. As a resilient strategist, an author, a mom, a coach, a transformational speaker, and award-winning nurse leader who has personally beat burnout twice and came back, I created this space just for you. The ambitious moms, the nurses, the nurse leaders, and high-achieving women in high-stress roles. Why? Because if you're ready to break free from burnout, reclaim your harmony in life, love, and leadership, and not to mention motherhood, you are in the right place. I want you to have resilience, and I want you to choose yourself more. My book called I Choose Me, The Intentional Guide to Never Losing Yourself Again, was the breakthrough point, and now you're here. In each episode, we explore mindset shifts, empowering truths, and real stories grounded in my signature Bloom framework, right? Because you got to grow to keep going, okay? It's all designed to help you rise without losing yourself. Thank you for pressing play, and let's get into today's conversation. Hey, boo, hey, welcome back to Intentional Queen Podcast. I've missed you guys. I know you guys have been hearing and refreshing yourself. We're in the summertime. I wanted to make sure that I stopped through and I wanted to go ahead and make this connection for you, right? We're always talking about the permission to pause, but today what we're going to be talking about is the permission to play. Okay, I was in prayer and I was doing some things and it came across and I was like, we always talk about pausing, but are we talking about playing? Because people know when you coaching with me, we go through the 8 pillars. And part of that is, are you really enjoying life? So I really have been doing a deep dive into my past content, into what you guys have been downloading, but y'all have been giving me the business over the last 2 months. I'm telling you, the downloads have skyrocketed and I want to thank you. And if you're not subscribed, I want you to take a moment and go ahead and subscribe to wherever platform you're listening to, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or even our YouTube channel. Please support the channel. It helps us to grow. I would appreciate that. So let's jump into this thing. We're going to call today permission to play. You don't have to earn joy. And if you're really talking about the permission to pause, you can go to the previous episode. You can also go through, I think I did an episode talking about Inside Out, and I was talking about that movie, and it talks about the different emotions that we have. And that was a really top episode. So I'm just giving you some other things that you can bring together with the permission to pause, because it's like a series. And sometimes you got to go over it again. And sometimes I have to listen to myself, girl, and be like, hold on, I got to go back and listen to this message. So we're saying you don't have to earn joy. I don't think we talk enough about, as ambitious women, leaders, mothers, nurses, entrepreneurs, caregivers, and women who are used to caring a lot. We don't talk about it a lot. We talk about working. We talk about achieving. We even talk about more now about resting. But when was the last time you gave yourself permission to play? Not because you finished everything on your list, not because you reached the goal, not because everybody else was taken care of, not because finally you had nothing else to do, just because you are alive and well. You hear me? Just because joy belongs in our life too. I had a previous client who came for a breakthrough call, and she said all she wanted to have was joy. And it just made me kind of think about this from a different perspective of how I could go ahead and serve y'all in that part of it, right? And I have been thinking about this differently lately because I spent a lot of time teaching and talking about the permission to pause, because that's one of my trademark things. And permission to pause was born out of something I had to learn myself, that rest is not weakness, that pausing doesn't mean you're falling behind, that sometimes the most intentional thing you could do is stop long enough to hear yourself again. Catch that T. That sometimes the most intentional thing you can do is stop long enough to hear yourself again. But I'm realizing there's another permission we need to do, and that's called the permission to play. And that's that positive, sexy talk. So we're going to talk to ourselves in that sexy tone and say, hey, boo, you need permission to play. And I'm going to say, I want permission to play, because, right, need and want have 2 different connotations depending on how your brain perceives it. Because what happens after we learn how to pause is, do we simply recover enough to go back to producing? Right? My word of the year is execution. So you all been seeing me out here in these streets executing. And if you didn't know, I want you to take a clap for me, but take a clap for y'all, because I couldn't have this. Our podcast was named number 47 top U.S. podcasts for motivation, and I think we were in the 70s for accountability. So that shows me that you guys show up to get that motivation, and I hope that is giving you transformation, because this is what God put on me for obedience, is to help transform people by just sharing my story. And I want to talk about that vulnerability, right? That led to being courageous, that built the confidence to keep showing up for you guys. But I had to start by showing up for myself, right? So that meant I had to add a permission to pause. And now we out here permission to play. You see how we bring it together? Y'all know when I think in circles. So I want to make sure we close that loop. So back to what I was saying. So when you got the permission to play, I want us to know, do we rest so that we can work harder tomorrow? Or do we just begin creating a life that actually feels good to live? That's the conversation I want us to have today, because everything becomes productive. You got your notebook? Because I'm going to give y'all some notes, okay? High achieving women are really good at turning almost anything into an assignment, right? We turn wellness. We'll schedule the massage. We'll track the workout. We'll count the steps, because I've been out here counting my steps, y'all. Read the personal development book. How many books I done read, okay? Listen to the podcast, because y'all here. Journal, meditate, take the vacation, and sometimes we're still performing. Catch that T, performing. We're doing all these things we're supposed to do to become a healthier, happy version of ourselves, right? Because you're here to level up your IQ to a better you. But when was the last time you did something for absolutely no other reason than to enjoy it? So ask yourself, I enjoy this. That's the question. But that's different, right? There doesn't have to be an outcome when you say, I enjoy this. It doesn't have to make more money. It doesn't have to become content. It doesn't have to improve your resume outside in these streets. It doesn't even have to make you a better leader. You don't have to post it. Nobody has to know you do it. You are allowed to enjoy something simply because you enjoy it. One more time for the person in the back. You are allowed to enjoy something simply because you enjoy it. And for some of us, that requires practice. And remember, it's a trained behavior. We talked about that when we move with momentum and we go through the Bloom framework. And when you and I Choose Me Bootcamp, we talk about how we create your harmony roadmap to help you go through. But it starts with building those small intentional steps. And sometimes that takes time. And normally it takes 21 to 31 days to build a habit. So I had to learn this too, y'all. I've had sessions of my life where achievement was at the forefront, because y'all know I be out here grinding. I built a career. I'm raising my child. I built businesses with an S. I've written a book. I've created programs, coaching programs, and all types of things. I've spoken on stages. I've served. I've cared for patients. I've cared for other people. I've taken leadership roles. I've been the strong one. And then I had a season where my body and my life required something different from me. My sabbatical taught me a lot. One of the biggest lessons was that my life could not constantly revolve around what I was producing. Catch that T, because this is who I'm talking to. I learned that I could not constantly revolve around what I was producing, because a lot of times we just are in consistent performance and producing mode. There are ebbs and flows. That's why I said sometimes you got to put the ball up and sometimes you got to put the ball down. And when you look at the wheel of life, this is how you decide what deserves your attention at that time, because you cannot hold it all at one time. Cannot hold it all at one time. Okay. Business did not always have to be at the forefront. Achievement did not always have to be at the forefront. Sometimes I needed to be at the forefront. Sometimes I needed to be at the forefront. That is part of why I Choose Me has always meant that. And that's the philosophy I had behind that. Choosing yourself isn't only making the difficult decision, it isn't only setting the boundary. It isn't only walking away from what no longer serves you out here in these streets. Sometimes choosing yourself looks like putting on the outfit that makes you feel beautiful, going somewhere because you want to, laughing, traveling, dancing, trying something new, spending time with people you enjoy, doing absolutely nothing without explaining yourself. How about that? Doing absolutely nothing without explaining yourself. Because sometimes people be trying to get on my schedule, and my schedule is my schedule. Okay? Just letting it be known. Your schedule is your schedule. Letting yourself experience beauty, letting yourself have fun, That's choosing yourself too. Because my book, I can't believe y'all, we are hundreds of books sold. We're global. And if you still want to get that book, you can get it at Amazon.com. And you also can get it at buyichoosemebook.com. I'll make sure to drop the link in the chat. So somewhere along the way, we learned joy had to be earned, right? Was it just me? But it had to be earned. So think about the language we use. When I finish this, then when I get through this season, after I reach this goal, I'm going to. Once the kids do this, I'm going. Once work slows down, I'll do this. After I make more money, then I'll do that. After I lose the weight, then I'm going to do this. After I finish the project, then this is what's next. But then you're always saying, then I'll enjoy myself. So it's like postponing your future. And one thing we know about life is time is not guaranteed. It's valuable. It's a present, like a gift. But intentional queens, I want y'all to pause for a second. And I want you to think about, what if life doesn't need to begin after achievement? What if joy begins in the middle of the becoming? What if it belongs in the middle of us becoming? That's the belief I want us to challenge today. Joy is not the reward at the end of your life. And play isn't irresponsible as long as you do it right. Play doesn't mean you aren't serious about your purpose. It doesn't mean you've lost your ambition. It doesn't mean you aren't disciplined. It means you have decided that productivity will not be the only evidence that your life is meaningful. Now, who needs to hear that one more time for the person in the back? It means you have decided that productivity will not be the only evidence that your life is meaningful. All right, get your pens and pads ready. So we talked about the permission to pause and the permission to play. I want you to hear this distinction. Permission to pause says, I don't have to wait until I break down before I stop. Permission to play says, I don't have to wait until everything is finished before I experience joy. That's how I look at the permission to play. I don't have to wait until everything is finished before I experience joy. One protects your capacity, the other expands your life. And remember, a couple years ago, my word of the year was expansion. So you see how I bring it full circle? Because we are starting to close up year 2026. So I want y'all to start thinking about, what's our word of the year for 2027. I've been praying on that. But we need both. We need to protect our capacity, but we also need to expand our life. Because I don't want us building lives that simply require better recovery strategies. I want us building lives we don't constantly need to recover from, because that genuinely is harmony. Harmony doesn't mean every part of your life receives equal time. It means you no longer are sacrificing yourself like the sacrificial lamb to keep everything else functioning, because that's high functioning burnout. And that's what we're not doing anymore, right? So the question isn't only, what do I need? For years, many of us have learned to ask, what needs to get done? Who needs me? What needs fixing? What's next? What's the goal? What's the deadline? But I want to give you another question. What would delight me? So that's what I want you to put on your notes. What would delight me? I want you to answer that question in your journal. Not impress me, not advance me, not monetize me, not validate me, delight me. What will delight me? That question may feel uncomfortable, but I want you to sit with it, sit in it for a minute. Because somewhere underneath all of those roles and responsibilities is still a woman who gets to experience her own life. But this is part of Bloom, right? When I talk about Bloom, I'm not talking about becoming another version of the woman who can carry more. I'm talking about becoming more of yourself, right? Running through, believing in yourself, loving on yourself, owning your story, right? Mastering mindfulness, moving with momentum. Sometimes blooming looks like growth. Sometimes blooming looks like healing. And sometimes blooming looks like joy. One more time for the person in the back. Sometimes blooming, y'all, looks like joy. You don't have to turn every season into a transformation project, because, we're not Barbara out here anymore. Remember Bob the Builder? Well, they got Barbara the Builder. You're not Barbara the Builder anymore, okay? Simply enjoy the garden. Your permission to play practice. So here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to ask yourself, what did I love doing before everything became so serious? And then ask yourself, what sounds fun to me now? Don't overthink it, y'all, because we overthinkers out here. Maybe it's getting dressed up for no particular reason. Maybe it's going somewhere new. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's dancing. Maybe it's a hobby you abandoned for years or years ago. Maybe it's sitting outside with a book that has absolutely nothing to do with your career or advancing yourself in personal development. Maybe it's laughing with your friends out here in these streets or building community. Maybe it's playing with your children without simultaneously checking your phone. Maybe it's taking yourself somewhere beautiful or even on a self-love date. Maybe it's doing something completely spontaneous. I want you to choose one thing. You hear me? One thing. And here's the important part. Don't make yourself earn it. Put it in your life before everything else is finished, because everything will never be finished. Hear me again. Don't make yourself earn it. Put it into your life before everything else is finished, because everything will never be finished. So as we start to wrap up, your life is happening now. I spend a lot of my own journey learning what it means to choose myself, and choosing yourself evolves. Sometimes choosing yourself means surviving, setting boundaries, healing, pausing, starting over and over and over. Sometimes it means having the courage to execute. And sometimes, y'all, it's choosing yourself means letting yourself have a good time. That's it. No lesson required, no productivity required, no explanation required. Intentional Queen, you have the permission to pause, but I want you to have the permission to play. You are allowed to build the business, enjoy your life. You are allowed to lead and laugh. You are allowed to have goals and have fun. You are allowed to be responsible without carrying responsibility every waking moment. You are allowed to pursue purpose without making every moment purposeful. One more time. You are allowed to pursue purpose without making every moment purposeful. And you do not have to earn joy. So this week, don't ask yourself, what do I need to accomplish? Ask yourself, where is the joy in my life that I'm working so hard to build? And then experience some of it. And this is the task I want you to do. If you want the email list, go to intentionalqueenjourney.com and sign up to our Mindset Mondays and all that. But my homework for you is I need y'all to DM me and tell me permission to play. I need to see that. It can even just be the word play. I need to know that you heard this, because this is something that I think is going to be for the streets. And I know y'all need to hear this message. So if it's resonated with you, you need to DM me. You can go to Instagram at Intentional Queen Journey, or wherever you follow me on social media, and just DM me the word play. And let me know, because y'all out there, those downloads let me know y'all outside. I want to thank you, Queen, for investing your time in yourself and in your journey to restoration with me as your host. You know why? Because I hope today's conversation has left you feeling inspired and better equipped for this week ahead with harmony and resilience. Because remember what I tell you, when you are good, they are good. New episodes air every other Thursday. So be sure to follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss a moment. And if you're really feeling us, I want you to leave us a review so you can help us with our mission to grow and reach more women globally, because we are doing big things and you are a part of this community, and I want us all to grow. The conversation doesn't even have to stop here, because you my girl and I want you to hang around. So you can connect with us at our Supportive Bloom community and get resources and exclusive updates when you go to our website at www.intentionalqueenjourney.com. Once again, www.intentionalqueenjourney.com, and you will get our community. You will get the positive, free, sexy talk checklist that you need, and you can just join the email list. So do that today. And you can also find us on our social media pages at Instagram at Intentional Queen Journey, or definitely go over and check out our YouTube channel at Jineen R. Huff TV, where there's over 500 videos of binge-worthy content just for you. And finally, if you found this value in this podcast, please share it with a queen in your life, and consider, like I said, leaving a review. Your support helps this message reach more women who are ready to reclaim their power and bloom in confidence, love, leadership. So until next time, keep blooming, level up your intentional queen to a better you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.